Hey, this is Sri here, and in today's video I'm going to talk you through why men pull away in a marriage. Now before we dive in, I just want to let you know that my heart goes out to you. If you're watching this video, the chances are that you're going to be going through a really difficult time in your marriage, and there's a good chance that he's going to be pulling away and you're going to be getting mixed messages and so on. And so if you are in that position, I know how tough it is, and believe me, I speak to people every single day who are going through challenges like this. And so if you are feeling a little bit alone and isolated in all of this, I want you to firstly recognize that you're not alone, and secondly that I am here to help you if you are needing it. So if you are needing some help and just needing some guidance and some assistance on this journey of yours, make sure you click the link below in the description section where it says book a call with me. Just click on that link, just choose a time that works for you, and then I'll call you and I can just learn a little bit more about your situation and be able to give you a bit of a concrete plan of attack in terms of how you can go about restoring and improving the quality of your marriage right now. Make sure you click the subscribe button below so that every week you get access to all of my latest videos, teach you specifically about how you can improve your marriage, how you can improve yourself, and how you can really learn more about male psychology as well, so that you can really be able to communicate with your husband in the best possible way. Now, dealing with a man that is pulling away and stonewalling or shutting down, or is in a position where he's just giving you those mixed messages, can just completely mess with your mind. And I'm not surprised that you're wanting to check out a video like this, because when people are in that situation, what happens is it creates a huge amount of confusion. You're not sure how much you should be interacting with him. You're not sure if you should be messaging him. You're not sure if you should be actually going out and being proactive and doing things for him and providing acts of service, or whether you just back off. It's going to be really confusing. And I think a lot of the time when it comes to that confusion, what we're wanting is certainty in our own mind. And not only certainty, but we're wanting to know why. We want to know why it is that men tend to pull it away. So in today's video, I'm going to talk you through 3 important reasons why men pull away when they're in a marriage that's not going well. Now, the point I wanted to make quickly before I touch on these 3 reasons is that in a marriage, when there are masculine and feminine energies involved, now, regardless of whether we're talking about a man or a woman or, whatever gender, the reality is that all individuals, all marriages have both masculine and feminine energies. And they need that, because otherwise there'd be no spark. So the idea is that because there are those masculine and feminine energies, there are fundamentally differences in terms of the way in which both parties communicate. And not only communicate, but the intent to which they go about their daily lives. The key thing is that for the feminine energy is motivated by love. And so even when there are problems in a marriage, the feminine person is driven by this desire to seek love, to pursue love, to experience love. Because when they experience love, they feel full. Now, the masculine energy, on the other hand, is driven very much by freedom. And so you have this situation that when a relationship is falling apart or there are problems, you have one party, the feminine party, who's going to push and keep trying because they're motivated by love, because they need that love to fill themselves up. And then you have the other part, the masculine part, which is driven by freedom. So they just need to get out of that environment as quickly as possible, because being in that environment prevents them from having the freedom that they desire. So that's part of the reason why you see these dynamics. And in my work, what I often see is that the woman is often trying and pushing hard at it, and the man tends to back off and tends to pull away quite a bit. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to talk you through 3 reasons why men tend to pull away in a marriage. Now, the first reason is around control. See, for a masculine man, he doesn't want to be controlled. Now, I do find that in some marriages that the women suddenly become a little bit more controlling, and they need that control because of fear. They're worried that he's going to back off, that he's going to go somewhere else, or he's going to go and put his energy somewhere else. So in order to get the needs met, they try and control the circumstances and control him. And what I mean by that is that making sure that he can't go out, making sure that he can't do those things that he wants to do, feeling like he has to be at this place at any moment in time, feeling like he has no option other than to adhere to the needs of the household environment or the family, etc. I want to be clear here that in no way am I blaming you for any of the controlling aspects of it or anything like that, because a lot of the time men fail to step up for their woman. They fail to meet those mental and emotional and physical needs. And so what happens is when your needs aren't being met, you're going to do everything in your power to try and make sure you get those needs met. And after a while, even if you feel like he's not actually going to step up and do the things that he needs to do, there are still things that need to be done, whether that's things around the house, whether that's looking after the kids, whatever it is. Now those might seem like very normal things and very, standard requests. But from a male perspective, what often happens is that because he has this desire for freedom, often that trumps the things that he knows that he needs to do. So he might know that he needs to be there for the kids. He might know that he needs to, do things around the house, but his desire for freedom is so strong that he's going to want to go off and hang out with his friends or back off in some way or just go and watch TV for a bit or whatever it may be. Now, as I said, I'm not condoning any of those behaviors. The purpose of this video is just purely to explain why men do what they do sometimes. Now, I am generalizing a little bit. Not every single man operates like this. It doesn't apply to every single man or every single marriage. But there are patterns, and this is definitely one of the most common patterns that I see. If you ever want to destroy the quality of a marriage, control your man, really control what he can do and what he can't do and so forth, and ultimately what will happen is he will feel fundamentally emasculated. And that is the first reason why men pull away. Now the second reason is criticism. You see, I have seen so many times instances where men are criticized like you wouldn't believe. And it is incredible how detrimental it is to a marriage. And not just a marriage, in any walk of life. When a man constantly feels like he's being criticized for everything, whether that's the way in which the dishes were done, or that he didn't get the lawns mowed outside, or he hasn't been bringing enough money in, or whatever it may be. If he feels criticized, he feels completely inferior and insignificant, and he feels like less of a man. If he feels like less of a man, he's not going to want to step up in any way. Now, I really want you ladies to really understand the impact that this has on some men emotionally. Now, no way am I trying to play down any of the emotional challenges that you're facing, because, as I said, there's always two sides to the story, and I know that there's always moments where, the man isn't stepping up in any way. But if we recognize that for a man, when he feels emasculated, he literally feels like he's not good enough. He feels like a complete failure. He feels as if he's worthless. And it's the most disgusting feeling as a man. I can tell you, having been there before, it is such a horrible place. And your whole perception of the world kind of changes. Your whole perception of experiences changes. And you just want to get out. Because you even look at your partner sometimes and think, why would they want to be with me? I'm such a loser. I'm such a failure. And so if your husband is feeling like that, if he's feeling inferior and completely inadequate, then it's really important that you work out ways to make him feel really significant, really important, and really special. Because that is the feminine gift. And when the feminine can really fill the masculine up by allowing them to feel whole, to feel significant, to feel important to you, etc., even if he's failing in other areas of life, if he knows that he's got this number one supporter behind him and she is a raving fan of his, then he's going to want to stick around. He's going to want to be there. It's an incredibly powerful gift that any feminine woman can give her man. Now, I know that you may not be intentionally trying to criticize him and drag him down and make him feel insignificant, but it is something to be mindful of and be wary of. And if you're not sure if you're doing it, if you're not clear on whether it is something that's happening in your marriage or not, just feel free to write your comments below or click on that link below where you can book a call with me, and I'm happy to talk you through some of your circumstances and see if there is a pathway to help you move forward as well. And the third reason why men tend to pull away is because of heaviness. Now, the heaviness comes in two parts. The first is that a lot of the time some individuals just have a really heavy energy about them. men really struggle when there's always doom and gloom and problems and so forth all the time. And once again, I'm not saying it's not draining for the woman as well, but it's about recognizing what they're struggling with in that moment in time. It is a natural inclination for men to want to escape and to want to free themselves from that environment, because that heaviness can often feel like too much. So that's the first part, the heavy energy that often some people have. Now some of you may be confused about, oh, I don't know if I've got a heavy energy and so forth. And I want you to think about some times in the past where maybe you've met some new people and you just thought, oh, they've just got a bit of a yucky feeling to them, or there's this real intensity to them. And that's what I'm talking about, is that you just get this vibe from certain people that they've got this certain heaviness about them. And the same goes for marriages as well. I remember flatting with a couple of people over a decade ago, and every time I would walk into the house, there would just be this feeling. It was really hard to describe, but it was so heavy and toxic in so many ways. But because I worked with them, I'd see them at work and they'd be bubbly and happy, but then I'd go home and there'd be this real intensity to it. And I found it really hard, and I wanted to get away from that environment. It was too toxic for me in a lot of ways. And so you want to observe, how do you feel like you're coming across at times? Now, I know that's an uncomfortable question, and this is not about blaming you. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. And the reason this is important is because ultimately, even for you, if you are, hypothetically speaking, you do hold on to a heavy energy, then what happens is you can actually then work on that to lighten yourself up. Spend more time doing the things that bring you joy. Spend more time finding things that are going to make you happy ultimately. And also find happiness in the little moments as well. Just seeing a beautiful sunset, just looking into your baby or your daughter or son's eyes and just experiencing the miracle of life. Or even if it's at work, and just being grateful for the fact that you have a job and you're able to provide for your family, or whatever it may be. Find joy in those little moments, because when you find joy in the little moments, it's going to lighten you up. You're going to be happier. And when you can bring more of that energy in, it's going to make it so much nicer at home. Now, I know some of you might be sitting there going, but look, I want him to just accept me for who I am. I want my feelings to be validated. And yep, I totally get it. But the problem is a lot of men in some of these circumstances, they don't recognize what women need in a marriage. And so what they do is they immediately pick holes. And it's wrong, yes, but it is something that happens a lot. So the thing that you can control is how you can show up and to become the best version of yourself. And then once the connection improves, you can then start to communicate with him about some of your needs and what it is that you're actually needing from him, and how he can fill your bucket up so much more. And that's the benefit of it. And that's the benefit of working on ourselves. Now, the second part of the heaviness component is the behavioral side of things. What I mean by that is that it's the specific behaviors on a day-to-day basis where you're wanting to talk about all the difficult stuff, you're wanting to talk about the challenges in the marriage all the time. And because of that, a man just feels so bogged down already. He's potentially been to work, he's been problem solving all day, then he comes home, and then there are some of those problems that he has to deal with as well, and it all becomes too much. I vividly recall, years ago, I was dating this woman, and what would happen is I would be in the office and I would get this text message, and the text message would be, hey, can we talk? And so when I saw those messages, I just wanted to run from it. So my instinctive response is, I don't want to text back because I don't want to deal with those problems at that time. And so this is where the vast majority of men often reside in terms of mentally and emotionally. They don't want to have to deal with those problems. And an additional point I wanted to raise as well was that when it comes to heaviness, if you've had to deal with problems when you were younger, or you had a difficult relationship with your parents or any particular sibling or whatever, a lot of the time what that can do is force us to shut down and close ourselves off. Because if you've closed yourself off, then basically what you're saying is that I don't want people to see some of my own flaws. And so what that means is that you close yourself off. And then when you get into a relationship or a marriage, what actually happens is that you're not able to open yourself up completely. And when I say open up, I mean on an emotional level and an energetic level. It's really having that warmth and that radiance and all of those really essential qualities of who you are. You're not able to be yourself. There's always a part of you that might end up holding yourself back. And so what happens once again is that a lot of men can pick up on that. Because ultimately what a man wants is to feel completely significant and to feel that he's created an environment where you feel completely free and open in that environment, where you're being your true authentic self. And so this is why it is so important to also do some of the internal work inside. And ask yourself, are you being your best self? Do you feel like you can be completely open with your husband? Do you feel like you're maybe more comfortable around other people than you are with your husband? And if you can ask yourself these questions, then what that does is it helps you to recognize, all right, am I actually being the best version of myself in the marriage? If not, is there a part of me that's reluctant to really open myself up here? And if you are reluctant, does that also apply in other areas of your life? Does this happen at work? Does this happen with some of your friends? Does it happen when you meet people for the first time? Are you a bit uncomfortable? Are you a bit hesitant to open up to other people because you're worried that they might judge you and so forth? Really have a look and observe all of those different patterns, because they will give you really good indicators around how you're actually showing up in your marriage right now and what it is that you also need to work on as well. Now, I know that some of this stuff can be quite confusing, and you might even be listening to some of the words I'm saying when I talk about energy and so forth and thinking, what on earth is he talking about? And I think if you're wanting to learn more about it, or if you resonate with it, then what I'd encourage you to do is, if it feels right for you, like I say, just go and click on that link below where it says book a call with me. Just choose a time that works for you, and I'd be happy to explain a little bit more about it, go into depth about it, and really just so I can learn a little bit more about where you are now, where you want to get to, and sort of how you can bridge that gap in the shortest possible time. And also to see if my program and the way in which I serve my clients can be of service to you, because at the end of the day, I want nothing more than to see you happy and to see you live the marriage and the life that you truly deserve. And I really believe that when people shift from within first, then they can impact their marriage. But a lot of people try and work on the marriage first before they work on themselves, and it's always a recipe for disaster in the long run. So as I said, if you're needing some more help, just click on that link below, choose a time that works for you, and I'll contact you at the scheduled time. And I can't wait to be of service to you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it's given you a couple of things to think about. And if you've liked it, make sure you hit the like button below. If you want to get more videos like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And make sure you let me know what your biggest takeaway was below as well. Just comment below and I'll make sure I respond to all of your comments. If you want to learn why men always come back after a separation, just click this video above. And if you want to learn whether men regret losing a good woman, click this video above. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll talk to you in the next one.